Other great things to consider when you're hiring a person, if they're interfacing with your clients and they're a supervisor foreman, I highly recommend English speaking at some level. It just gives off an entire different. It just really presents your company in a much better light. Anybody with a criminal background, I don't recommend them. So that's a bad attribute right there. So if you check that, try to keep away from illegal workers if at all possible. That's a big deal. So that's another thing. But there's a lot of great ones out there. I'm just saying, if you're talking about some of the things we look for, you want to try to move away from those from a risk standpoint. Other attributes: do they look us in the eye? Do they actually make eye contact with us? Or do they just come across as nice people? A lot of workers are going to interface with the client. So even if the client never talks to them, if they were an outside worker, if they were mowing the lawn and the customer were to drive by, could this person be one that would actually wave at the client and smile? I believe that people make, in just a matter of seconds, a judgment in their subconscious mind about a person they're meeting for the first time. We all do it. I'm convinced that's real. And so when you first meet this person, what's that immediate gut feeling that you get? Women are really good at this stuff. They have way better intuition than guys do. They just get something. Oh, this guy, there's something not right about this guy. This guy's fake. It's that kind of thing. What is that immediate vibe? Because that's the vibe your client's going to get when they meet this person and they're welcoming in their home. I keep kind of going back to this initial topic because at the end of the day, you can train skill. If you've hired somebody that's a hard worker and they may have talked a good game and not been that, so you fired him, but you've got a guy that's a hard worker, he just isn't really great at the trade, at the skill, you can fix that. You can't fix an unethical person. You can't fix a person without a conscience or that doesn't mind lying periodically for his own gain. So I keep going back to that, but I just can't impress upon you enough how critically important that stuff is. And so those are some other attributes to look at. I really like a positive individual, a guy that, back to that connection in the first couple seconds, he just looks like a nice guy. He just looks like, if my clients connected with him and saw him, that he'd be a nice guy. If they're working inside my office, they've got to be great on the phone. Everybody has to be able to work the phone. If you can't work the phone, then you're really not a fit for our company. Everybody needs to be able to sell at some level, and I don't believe, everybody needs to be able to talk on the phone and present your company well. If they can't do that, they're not good. If you're hiring somebody in the office, it's hard. This is hard to find, but if they're going to be somebody that's going to move up in the ranks in your company, I think they need to be good at writing. I think we're moving back towards. I think there's a lot of writing that takes place in businesses, especially with the internet now, especially with email communication. I think that's a valuable skill if they're in the office. If a guy has been unemployed for a long period of time, that's concerning. Especially in what I mean by, especially if you're in a business where there's no reason to be unemployed. If a guy is constantly bouncing from jobs, highly concerning. If you hire somebody, or if you're interviewing somebody and they come to you and they're very demanding, very concerning. If they come to you and they say they're not going to do this or that, that's not something they're going to do, and I've had that many times, don't hire them. If you interview them and they've just constantly moved from job to job, and this boss, I left that company because, that guy wasn't fair, he was treating his workers wrong, and that guy at this company, he yelled at everybody, and he was embezzling money, and we hear it all the time. Everybody's got a story. Oh, and the reason I didn't work for 4 months is because I was renting from my grandma kicked me out, and she did this and that. If you get that stuff, walk away. There's too much of that. Too many people are like, there's too much drama. Every time we've hired somebody that had drama because we were desperate, it was exactly what we knew going into the deal. They turn out to have too many crises. Stay away from that stuff. I think there's value in asking quite a few questions of your people. I think there's value in, before you hiring somebody in the field, hire them as a contractor and go out in the field and work with them. In a week, you'll know their work ethic. You'll know what they really know versus what they said they know. You'll know if they can handle it. We usually flush most of our guys out of our companies within 1 week, simply because it's too much for them and they move on their own. If you do a week of consulting with somebody, essentially you hire a guy, he's a plumber or he's a lawn mowing guy or a bush trimmer guy, do a week, pay him a nice wage, do a week with them out in the field, you or somebody on your team. try them out and they don't work out, get rid of them. That just simply testing somebody out that you have a gut feeling is good. It's a great way to proceed without physically putting them on your payroll. So these are some of the key things I'd look for. Clean driver's license, no DWIs. We're big on that stuff. We've hired DWI guys over the years, and it's, it's people tend to be who they've been. Unfortunately, 1 out of 10 probably change, but 9 times out of 10, unfortunately, people do not make true life changes, and so they end up repeating the things they've done in the past. And I've learned this over time, and hopefully that number is really low. But if a guy's just continually had a history of doing something, even if you just expect it's going to happen, don't bother taking the risk on that one. Go keep looking. That's what I'm saying. I've definitely been of the mindset over the years to give guys second chances. It's worked a few times, but I get burned more often than not. And so from experience, now I move on. We just don't take the risk. And so some good guys we maybe should have picked up, we didn't get them, but we also didn't hire 5 or 10 guys we should have never hired. So those are things to consider. So I hope that's helpful. Those are the key things. The very first stuff I talked about, the quality of the person, that's your focus. You build a quality team around you, you can train them. Somebody has a good work ethic, they'll learn it. And in a year, they'll be a stud because they're good people and they work hard and they've got an ethic and their work ethic and they're loyal. Then it's incumbent upon you to take care of them, treat them well. You do that, you're good. You'll be golden. Good luck.